Okay. So multi-threading, for example. So in a laptop, every of you are maybe using laptop or the system, a desktop system. So in case, if you are having a MS Word, that is one process. MS Word becomes one process. And if you are having the media player, that is another process. Okay. And if you are doing the printing, or if you are using the Excel, MS Excel, that is another process. If you are using the browser, that is another process. Okay. So if you are having a process like this, so it is a line of execution. It is a single line of execution. Okay. So that is not a thread. Okay. If your process contained only one line of execution, then it is a single thread process, we can say, or just like that process. Okay. So if you can able to divide the process into several subsets, if you can able to divide the process into several subsets, in that case, those each and every subset is known as a threads. Each and every subset is known as a thread. Example, we can take our Word file itself. Word as a whole we will consider as a process. Okay. So within a word, what and all we are doing, for example, I am doing typing in a MS Word. And simultaneously, there is a dictionary which runs behind my at the back end, and it is checking what is the spelling of the word which I am. If there is any error, that error is shown by red lines. Is it happens or not? Yes or no? Why? Whether everyone use MS Word?
Yes,
While
yes, ma'am.
typing the text, it is checking the
Yes, ma'am.
spelling.
Yes, ma'am.
It is checking the spelling. So if it is wrong, it will show by red underline like that. That is red
Yes,
line
ma'am.
you will be having on that particular word. So it means that doing typing operation, parallelly what it is doing, dictionary,
It is
that
also
software is
correcting.
also running, and it is checking the spelling. And during typing, I can print the Word document also. So I can able to do the printing, I can able to do the typing, I can do the spell check. So three threads. For example, I am saying, so one thread is doing a spell check. Other thread I am typing. It is accepting and it is saving. Another thread printing a document. So the three threads are running simultaneously, concurrently. Okay. But I'm working in only one process, that is Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word is a one process. With that itself, I'm dividing the task into several subtasks. Each task is carried out by one threads. So this is known as one thread, this is an another thread, and this is an another thread. So it is known as a multi-threading. Then what is the advantage of this? I can complete my task quickly, as well as I'll be utilizing the resource more effectively. More effective usage of resources will be there. Okay. And here you see process. If taking the process, there is only one process which each process have its own memory. So here there is a one process which has its own memory, code, data files and all. And you see a process contains many threads. All the threads shares the common memory. All threads shares a common memory, that is code, data file. All these things are shared by all these threads. Each thread, three threads are there. Now all the three threads are sharing these code data files. But each thread has register stacks separately.
Madam,
Okay, so that is a
ma'am,
yes.
whenever we are using
Is
that
there any
text
doubt?
editor, no, ma'am, whenever we are using one text editor, if we are visiting some other websites also, that also comes under this multi-threading only, ma'am.
Multitasking. That is multitasking. Multitasking. We are going to see the difference between multitasking. So you are typing in a word, that becomes one task and one process. And if you are using browser, that is an another process. And such kind of thing is known as a multitasking. Multitasking it is. So I'm going to show one example picture for that. You see, multitasking versus multi-threading. You see, we are having for example, I'm using my laptop. Here I'm having one operating system. The operating system may be of Windows, Linux, or Ubuntu, whatever it is. Therefore, in that operating system, in my laptop, simultaneously I can execute many processes. This is if I can able to execute process, it means multitasking. So media play, I can hear music as well as I can work in the Excel, MS Excel, Word, or the Paint. I can browse. Okay. So multitasking it is. So each one is one process. So browse is one process, Excel is one process, Paint is one process, media player is another process. So how the only one CPU is there. So how the switch will be done now? For example, browser will be using CPU for some time. So after some point of time, Excel will be using, and after some point of time, Paint will be using. After some point of time, media player will be using. But as a use, the time which I am saying that it may be in terms of nanosecond, in terms of a millisecond or the nanosecond. The time difference we will not to know. So within a fraction of second, the switching between the process will happen in the CPU. So it is a multitasking. So multi-threading. Multi-threading means, for example, every one of us are using Google Pay. Many of you, Google Pay, Paytm, like that you are using. So the application which all using is same. Let me take Google Pay. So Google Pay, if I have downloaded in my mobile now, application only I have downloaded. If you are going to download the Google Pay, na same application only you are going to download. Okay. So, but the giving one request and you will be giving another request. Yes or no? I am trying to transfer, do the transaction, and you are also trying to do the transaction. So each one will be considered as a request. You see here, let us consider this as your, that is multi-threaded server as your Google Pay. So many people are sending the requests. All those requests will be placed into the thread pool in a queue. Okay. So each request will be taken and that will be processed by the server. If the CPU is available, each thread will have time and it will complete its task. But for us, the time duration is very less, nanosecond, in terms of nanoseconds only. So we don't see the difference. Is it any, whether it is showing that that person is doing transaction, so you could not able to do like that, whether any message we are receiving? Are we receiving any message like that?
No, ma'am.
Yes or no? Google Pay is used by, for example, class 123 students are there. 123 students are using the Google Pay. Whether any one of you are receiving a message like this, for example, 10 people are using Google Pay, so you have to wait for some time. Like that,
No, ma'am.
are you getting any?
No, ma'am. We are not getting.
So all of us, all of you can able to access the Google Pay simultaneously. All you are sending requests and the response is given to you. For all you are getting the responses. So, but how that the responses it is given by Google Pay now by using thread only. Each and every request will be considered as a thread, and those thread will be processed by the processor. But that each and every request will be placed into several thread pool. Okay, and each and every request will be taken and that will be processed. Time difference will be of a nanosecond, so we could not able to identify that time differences. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it clear?
Clear, ma'am.
What is the difference between multitasking and multi? there are three basic differences. First one, more than one program gets executed simultaneously in the case of multitasking. More than one program gets executed simultaneously. Instead of program, we can go for using process. For example, in this program I have shown now, where is it? Here. Browser one process, Excel is another process, Paint is another process, Multimedia Player is another process. Okay. So more than one program gets executed simultaneously, that is multitasking. Then what is multi-programming? More than one part of a program. That means one program is divided into several parts. One process is divided into sub-process. Okay. So more than one part of the program, threads, is executed simultaneously. And multitasking. So in the case of multitasking, the CPU switches from one program to another program so quickly to complete all the programs simultaneously. CPU switches from one program to another program. It is in the case of a multitasking. This is the case of multi-threading. CPU switches from one activity to another activity within the program. CPU switches from one activity to another activity within the program. And the third difference, in the case of multitasking is known as a heavyweight process. Why means each program has different memory location. So each process has its own memory, different memory locations. In the case of multi-threading is a lightweight process because the activities or the threads share the same memory space. So for that you can take this one. You see, each process will have different memory. For example, if this is process 1, it has different memory. If I am going to have process 2, that will have different memory. Yeah, one process has many threads. You see, all threads are sharing the common memory. That's why threads are known as lightweight. So there are three major differences between multitasking and multi-threading. So multitasking, more than one program, the first difference is more than one program gets executed simultaneously. Or a program, instead of program, we can use process. More than one process gets executed simultaneously. Multi-threading, more than one part of the program threads is executed simultaneously. Second difference, in the multitasking, CPU switches from one program to another program. In the case of multi-threading, CPU switches from one activity to another activity within the program. Third difference, multitasking. Each process has its own memory. So multitasking is called heavyweight process. Multi-threading is a lightweight process because all the threads share the same memory. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any
Yes, ma'am.
doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So we are going to see multi-threading in Java. So Java supports multi-threading. So you can, as a programmer, you can multi-thread programming by using a Java language. Okay. So what we are going to see here now, we are going to see stages of the life cycle of a thread. So we are going to see life cycle of a thread, how to create a thread. Thread can be created by implementing run interface, or thread can be created by extending from the thread class. And we are going to see what is a thread class and what is a run interface. Okay. So first we are going to see life cycle of a thread. Life cycle of a thread. Okay. So this is the life cycle of a thread. So whenever you created a, that goes into a new state. So 5 states are there. thread life cycle, there are 5 states: new, runnable, blocked, waiting, or timed waiting, terminating. These are the 5 states in thread life cycle. So whenever a thread is created, it is in a new state. Whenever a thread starts its execution, then it is in a runnable state. It is in a runnable state. Thread is in runnable state. For example, there is a one thread, it is in a runnable state. It needs to use a printer, but printer is not available. Printer is used by some other thread. So it has to wait for a lock of a printer. So in that state, that particular thread will go to a blocked state. That means it is waiting for a lock of a printer. So the thread will go to a blocked state. Once the lock is obtained, then that blocked thread will comes to runnable state. So whenever a thread is created, it is in a new state. Whenever a thread starts execution, it is in a runnable state. From the runnable state, thread may go to blocked state. When means if it is trying to get IO devices, it could not able to get. In that case, it will go for a blocked state. When the IO device is available, that time it will come back from the blocked to runnable state. And from the runnable state, it may go to waiting state or timed waiting state. Waiting state, a thread may wait for some event to occur. We don't know when a particular event occurs. So from the runnable state, a thread may go to waiting state. For example, a thread may wait for some event to occur. Or otherwise, a thread may wait some period of time, that is timed waiting. For example, 100 milliseconds, 1000 milliseconds. You can make the thread to wait. You can make it to sleep for 1000 milliseconds. In that sake, it is a timed waiting. Once the waiting is completed, once a specified event has occurred, from there it will come back to the runnable state. Okay. And when a process is in runnable, when a thread is in runnable state, if it completes its execution, it goes to the terminator state. So these are the states: blocked, new, runnable, terminator, timed waiting. So timed waiting or waiting, I placed into only one. I consider as a one state. Okay. So blocked means a thread that has suspended execution because it is waiting to acquire a lock. For example, printer. If a thread needs printer, that is not available. So it will be going to a blocked state. When the printer is available, it will come. So that means lock, it has to get the lock of it. For example, your room is locked. You should have the key, then only you can enter. So you should that key, that permission to access that particular IO device. Okay. New, a thread that has not begun its execution. That is, you have created a thread now, that is in a new state. Runnable, a thread either is currently executing or will execute when it gains access to the CPU. A thread which starts its execution is known as a runnable. Terminated, a thread that has completed execution, that is terminated. Timed waiting, thread that has suspended execution for a specified period of time. For a specified period of time, if a thread is suspended, as a timed waiting. And then waiting, a thread has suspended execution because it is waiting for some action to occur. That action will be performed by any other thread. Okay. So these are the states of a thread. And life cycle of a thread, if they are asking how to draw the diagram, and you have to explain. They are asking what are the states of a thread. Then also you have to draw the diagram and you have to explain. So remaining I will take in the next class. Only 5 more minutes is there, and I could not able to complete next topic. It is a program. It may take more time. Now, if there is any doubt, you can ask me.
No doubts, ma'am.
Okay, what we have seen in a today class, can anyone?
We saw a recap of the
previous
second
unit
unit, ma'am,
Third unit.
and multi-threading and multitasking
Recap
and
of third
difference.
unit or second unit?
third unit.
Third unit, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. First part.
Okay.
And multi-threading and multitasking, the difference.
And
Hmm.
the life cycle of thread.
Very good.
Life cycle of thread. No.
Okay. We just started the fourth unit. Okay. In the fourth unit, just we come to know what do you mean by multitasking? What do you mean by multi-threading? Okay. So what are the states of a threads, or what is the life cycle of a thread that we have seen? So there are 5 states are there: runnable, blocked, waiting, or timed waiting, terminated. Okay. And there are 3 differences between multitasking and multi-threading. And the clear understanding of multitasking and multi-threading is necessary. If we could not able to understand multitasking, that is multitasking, now we are not going to see. Multi-threading only we are going to see. Multi-threading concept you should able to understand clearly. The difference also you must able to understand clearly. And regarding this, you are going to study in one more paper, operating system, that you are going to study in the 4th semester. In 4th semester, you are going to study the operating system paper. That you'll be studying everything as a process. Okay. Everything you will be studying as a process. There also one topic which is known as a threads, multi-threading concept you will be studying there also. But maximum as a process only you'll be dealing. Related to all topic studying related to process. So why means operating system deals everything as a process only. So browser is one process, Excel is one process, Paint is one process. So you will be studying how the operating system works. Operating system handles with the process. And sometimes it handles with the multi-threading also. So you'll be more studying about process, you'll be studying about the multi-threading also.